Update. Daughter's mother just left her at my place. Original post. I'm very angry, so this is going to be a bit of a rant. My daughter's mom and I were young and only dating when she got pregnant with our daughter. We broke up and decided to co-parent. I would spend weekends and holidays with my daughter, which was honestly upsetting. I wish I got to spend more time with her growing up. My daughter, who is now 13, started staying with me more after her mom married her now husband a few months ago. My daughter would always tell me her stepdad doesn't like her that much. I would try and ask questions about what she meant by that. She would say he wouldn't hurt her or anything. He just doesn't like her. She would tell me she didn't want to talk about it, so I wouldn't push. Well, I was away on a business trip and didn't get home until 1 a.m. to find my daughter sitting on the porch with about 4 packed bags. I was so confused and angry seeing my 13-year-old daughter sitting out there in the middle of the night. Turns out, my ex found out she was pregnant and her husband insisted they don't need my daughter around anymore because they have their own family. That he never wanted a kid in his home who wasn't related to him anyway, so it's a perfect time to start fresh with their own family. Instead of the ex sticking up for our daughter, she agreed and made daughter pack and dropped her off at my place. Ex didn't tell me, and my daughter's phone was dead, so my poor baby was sitting outside alone for 10 hours. I am so mad my ex would do this, and I feel so bad for my daughter. She's absolutely heartbroken. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Call the police for child abandonment. What your ex did was vile, but should also be illegal. Now consult an attorney and get full legal custody of your child and try to get her into some therapy, please. So sorry your ex is a poor excuse of a mother. Your daughter deserves so much better. I called the police last night. Luckily, I know a good family law attorney and definitely plan on getting her into therapy soon. My poor girl wasn't doing well at all last night when I found her, and I feel so bad I wasn't home to prevent some of the damage done. I couldn't imagine how she was feeling while alone waiting for me. The fact your daughter has you on her side means everything. It will take a while for her to get past this hurt, and it may always sting her heart for the rest of her life. But having her father to support her and love her through it all is going to be life-changing for her. You're a great dad. Call CPS 2. Also go tomorrow to the courthouse and file for emergency full custody of your daughter. That will make it so your ex can't block getting your daughter into therapy immediately. Being abandoned for 10 hours puts her at serious risk for PTSD. I can't believe a mother would do this. Shame on her. Your daughter will probably never forgive her. I'm glad she has you. Thank you. I can't believe she would do this to her daughter either. It would be very unlikely if she forgave her mom. I can tell it was such a traumatizing experience for her. My baby was shaking from anxiety so bad when I got home, and it was clear she had been or was crying. Wouldn't be surprised if she had a panic or anxiety attack. My mother abandoned me at 15. 30 years later, and I've still never spoken to her despite her many attempts at reconciliation. Some things you just can't come back from. It was difficult then, and I did go through a lot of therapy, but what saved me were the people who showed up for me. They were a lifeline and kept me from feeling completely alone and devolving into bitterness over the whole thing. Your daughter will never forget that you were the person who showed up and continues to fight for her. My dad did this once. I was maybe 4 or 5. It was only maybe an hour I was alone, let alone 10, but it's been 20 years and I still remember it like yesterday. It's very traumatic. Had abandonment issues from this and other similar incidents. Dog. That's child abandonment. You should definitely sue your ex and her new dead husband. Do not let that nonsense slide, my brother. I don't plan on letting it slide. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a kinda small but also big update from my post yesterday. My ex and her husband got arrested. Each got a charge of child abandonment and child neglect. We got lucky, and a nearby neighbor's camera footage caught them dropping off my daughter and quickly driving off. My daughter clearly heartbroken. We also got the neighbor's camera footage of my daughter sitting outside by herself. I am currently in touch with an attorney who is hopefully going to help me and my daughter get justice for everything that happened. For people wondering how my daughter is doing, mentally and emotionally not well. which is to be expected. I have been trying to reassure her she is safe and didn't do anything wrong, as well as giving her lots of hugs and reassuring her that I love her. I got in touch with her school and they were able to point me in the best direction for a therapist, and she'll start therapy later next week. You honestly saved 2 kids. These individuals should be in jail and alone. I'm so sorry for your daughter. Her mother choosing not to be a good person is a choice. She is not at fault, and she cannot control others or their behaviors. I completely forgot about that feeling when mom drives off. I was the one who commented yesterday about being abandoned as a teen. Before that happened, my mom would periodically leave me in places, mall, grocery store, and just drive off. I'd forgotten that desolate feeling, as well as the thought that I was at fault, and I do now remember blaming myself for a while. I think it's a testament to therapy, having love and reassurance, and just plain old time. It's been so long since I've dealt with my mom's abuse and BS that I simply don't remember how badly it made me feel. Intellectually, I know, but I no longer feel it on a visceral level like I did back then. My point is, and not to belittle this situation, because it is extremely hurtful and difficult, your daughter can definitely come out of this all right. I'm so glad she has you in her corner. I'm sorry you went through that, and my post brought that back for you. I'm glad you're doing good now. I know my daughter will come out good, just needs the right support, and of course time to heal. How are your relationships with your neighbors? I guess I'm asking how a neighbor could see your daughter sitting on the porch crying for 10 hours and not ask her where you were. Why she's sitting on the porch with her bags and not being let inside. If she was all right or needed help, they could have let her use their phone to call you. I just don't understand how they could let her sit there if she could be seen. I know the ones who had camera footage who I actually know weren't or aren't home. I just happened to ask, and they looked back and found the footage. Others I'm unsure about. It's easy to look away or turn a blind eye and decide not to get involved. Next story. I can't forgive my husband for what he did when our son died. Original post. I, 41 female, have been married 21 years to my husband, 41 male. We have several children. One of them was special needs. He was born with a genetic mutation that neither of us carry. It was random chance. He was sick most of his life, and I was his primary caregiver. He needed nursing home level care. I had a nurse that came to help me a few days a week. My husband, his father, did not help much at all, no matter how much I asked for his help. He was always too busy or too tired and complained of back pain. Our son lived 15 years. I carried him, took care of all his needs, did his meds, his tube feeding, stayed up with him at night, etc. I had to take up bodybuilding to be strong enough to transfer him to and from his wheelchair or better couch or anything because my husband would not help. I suffered back injuries and even had to crawl on the floor at times to meet my son's needs. He still didn't help. He might change a diaper now and then and want a prize for doing so. I couldn't divorce him because I could not have a job while also caring for our son. His needs got greater and greater as he got older. By the time he died, he was on 6 seizure meds and had several machines he had to use for part of each day. Still, he was a happy, joyful child that loved life and was a joy to be around. He was always laughing and playing and very loved by me and his siblings. When he died, we knew it was coming. I was in the hospital with him and he died in my arms, peacefully and not in pain. It was the worst moment of my life. An hour after he died, my husband started going on about how he wanted to spend my son's life insurance money on an expensive 4-wheeler. He decided that because the policy was through his work and under his name, that the money belonged to him. I hated this idea and wanted to put the money towards our house. He spent it, all of it. He knew I didn't want that, and he told everyone that I was on board with it, and then acted shocked when I screamed and yelled at him for spending the money. He told his family that I didn't tell him till after, but at this point, even his family sees how awful he acted. He never helped take care of our son, and then blew all the life insurance money. To make matters worse, he tricked one of our adult sons into paying for the cremation. I paid him back immediately when I found out. I can't forgive this man. I am so angry beyond words. I am also financially trapped as I have no work history for the last 21 years. I hate this. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You are entitled to spousal maintenance after divorce. You may not have any official work history, but you worked as a non-paid personal caregiver for all those years. That's work experience. I get that it feels like you are trapped, but you really aren't. Please talk with a divorce lawyer. You are strong and resilient. You will thrive when you leave him. Jumping off this thought, maybe look into becoming a personal care assistant. My best friend does this and is considered unskilled since she doesn't have a degree. She had no work history for over a decade since she was a stay-at-home mom, but was able to find a way into industry because of the skills she got being a mom. And you cared for your son in a much more relevant way than she did caring for her non-disabled child. The work you did caring for your children is work, and you can tailor a resume to reflect all the very real skills learned on the job. You have managed schedules, planned events, maintained your household, navigated your way through the healthcare system. It's all in how you frame it. Tons of people would love to hire someone with your experience. If there were ever a time for Reddit to say this tired trope, this is it. Dump that ass hat and get the alimony you deserve. I'm not a fan of alimony in all cases, but this is clearly indicated here. I work as a caregiver or home care aide, and I make a decent living. Not fantastic, but I get by. And I had no experience prior to this. I was just looking to pay my way through school. It can be a very rewarding job, and you definitely have more experience than a lot of people starting out in this field. There's always a need. Just look on Indeed under caregiver and research the company or agency to make sure they're a good fit. Seconding this, my friend does some of this work for my mother, and the facility is always offering more hours with training. Now for the update. Thank you all for your kind words. Since this post, I have been working my tail off. My adult son got me a job working as a baker in the restaurant he worked in. It was only weekends, but I quickly learned the job and excelled at it, gaining confidence in myself and making friends. Then last week, I got laid off. The weather hasn't been good, and the restaurant hasn't had enough business to keep me employed. I was scared that I wouldn't find anything, but due to a strange set of circumstances, ended up reaching out to my son's former caseworker, and she recommended that I apply for 2 positions, one as a caregiver and another as a special needs job advocate. I wasn't sure how it would go, seeing as how all my bills were unpaid. Work, I didn't think employers would take a look at me, but both interviews went really well. All my experience taking care of my son was praised and very relevant for the jobs. I'm now waiting for a callback after background checks are complete, but it sounds like I have a really good chance at getting both of these jobs. They are both part-time and flexible enough that I can be at home with my children during most of the day, so I can continue homeschooling and doing all the things. As far as my marriage, that's up in the air. Not much has changed there. Sometimes he seems like he's trying to be a better partner, but his efforts are so small at this point, it doesn't feel like enough. Still, I'm moving forward in every way that I can to carve out a new life for myself. Thank you so much for everyone that told me to write out a resume detailing my skills as a mother, homemaker, home cook, and caregiver. It's been life-changing. Last story. Found out my boyfriend was a cheating scum when I rushed him to the ER. I'm beyond heartbroken and angry. My longtime boyfriend had an accident at home and broke a few bones. When we got to the hospital, he was so out of it, he gave me his phone pin because my phone had died. He guarded that phone like it was the crown jewels. Asian dating, local hookups, finding women overseas. Messages kept coming from all those apps and sites. So many porn streaming sites, but what sent me over the edge was the texts and emails and videos with other women. The pics they'd taken on Valentine's Day, the quick vacations where he was supposedly taking care of his family, declarations of love and lust going back years. Women he'd told me not to worry about, they're just friends. One lost her parents and was having a hard time. Another wanted help figuring out to sell her home. You know the excuses. He'd told me I was ridiculous, paranoid, acting like a controlling witch. But I could feel it. He'd stopped hugging me, touching me, and blamed it on the stress of having to take care of his handicapped mom. All while proclaiming he loved me so much, calling me the same sweet nicknames. The ones he used with the others as well, by the way. Even talked about wanting to get married. Brought that up with one of the others as well, which destroyed me. Now he's in the hospital, and I can just stare at his lying freaking cheating face in that bed. He may not remember when he wakes up that I told him he's wasted my time and my love, and that I hate him more than anything on this earth, and this will be the last time he sees me in this life. But the one thing I did do is use his phone to message all of the other women he'd been romancing, texting or sexting, telling them how sexy they are and how good they make him feel. Oh baby, I'm ready to have a real relationship because you're the only one I want. And told them what he's done, that he's more than a piece of turd-stained trash. He's the whole freaking dumpster. Took pics and sent myself a lot of the evidence before I unfollowed, blocked and deleted every last trace of myself and us from his phone. I don't want to ever forget how he's treated me, so I won't even think about forgiveness. I lost my best friend. Now I'm sitting and looking out the window, waiting for sunrise and a new day to unfold, and wondering why he sucks so much and makes me feel like I'm not enough. I know I am, but I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone with my heart again. Sorry it's long, just had to get this off my chest. I hope you're at home looking out a window and not at a hospital with him. The only reason to be by his side at this point is to pull the plug on your relationship. No, I would want to stay all night and then show him the screenshots as soon as he wakes up so he can suffer alone after that the whole day. It would hurt more to leave him alone with no closure. He'll know exactly why she's gone forever, and he'll be chaotic knowing he can't manipulate her with words. You only lost the idea of him. Clearly he was never truly the man you loved. Grieve, heal, and let true love find you. Yes, I read through 11 years of my ex-husband's emails. It was brilliant. I didn't feel bad about divorcing him then. I almost stayed even, if he'd been honest. But he tried to blame it on me, and I slammed that door forever. I told myself I'm not looking, but if love should really find me, I don't want to be bitter, and I don't want to punish him. About 3 months later, I was more in love than I've ever been. I get to live with someone who wants to live with me.